Welcome to the Forge Gaming Podcast. I am Troy and I am here with Judah. What's up, man?
I'm good. It's a little late at night, and I'm a little tired, but I'm here and I'm good. I'm pretty pumped to talk about this week's topic.
All right, so for this podcast, Podcast 11, our topic is the top publishers for this year. What do things
Yeah,
look like?
so we're basically it might be a little confusing at first, but we're going to look back at E3 2015 because we're coming up on E3 2016, and we're basically going to do like a year in review. Not necessarily January to December, but E3 to E3. Which games came out in between E3 2015 and now, and what are some of the high and low points of what came out? Did they meet expectations? Were they letdowns? All that. So we're going to be going through. I think we got about eight major publishers that came out with the most games throughout the year, and we're just going to kind of recap it.
Yep, and first on our list we have is Activision.
Activision has been a long time since they've had a bad year. you
Yeah.
know, Activision and EA are always duking it out, but you know, so I know Activision, they came out with, of course, Black Ops 3. People are still praising that game. And what else? Destiny: The Taken King DLC, which a lot of people like to view as, a whole new game. It's year 2 of Destiny.
Yeah.
That they came out with that. Troy, what are some of the other points there?
Believe have yeah, you said Destiny and you already said
Black Ops.
Black Ops 3. Um Yeah, those are two of the biggest games that they've had come out
Yeah.
this year.
And Activision and EA are both the two publishers who probably get the most flack from people, but at the same time they're the most popular. So is that it's sort of like it's one of the publishers that really focuses on hardcore and casual alike. You know,
Yeah,
you know but the games that they come out with, they give people the option of you can either play this game super seriously, like in Call of Duty. You can get into arena play, there's competitive
yeah,
esports stuff like that, but then also you can be a super casual player, and everybody plays Call of Duty.
yeah.
Call of
Everybody
Duty is the
plays it.
number one. It's the number one. If you are publishing the number one console game on the market, then you're doing pretty good,
Yeah, you
especially with
are.
Black Ops 3, because we were seeing a big decline with the Call of Duty popularity. Ghost got a ton of flack, Advanced Warfare got a decent amount of flack, and Black Ops 3 was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people. So
Yes. Um.
I
Uh,
oh, go ahead.
they did have a few bombs this year. Guitar Hero. That definitely bombed this year. That was
Oh
terrible.
yeah, let me say something on Guitar Hero real quick. It doesn't make any sense to keep making Guitar Hero games. Okay, I understand they want to make more money off of them, and maybe there's a reason just because it's next gen. But hey, make the last one like backwards compatible.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, like, the graphics don't matter. Okay, I personally don't care about the graphics in Guitar Hero and Rock Band. So really, the only upgrade is they already have 4 instruments, so unless they're adding a fifth one, and then you know, there's more songs which can easily be added as just, extra
Yeah.
DLC, which they're already doing. So I don't think there's a whole lot of people wanting to go out and spend more money on Guitar Hero and Rock Band, especially since those games with the instruments usually cost in the upwards of $100.
Yeah.
So
Another game they bombed on, which is so sad. It's so sad to see this series take the route that it's taking. But Tony Hawk.
it
I know.
it's past its time.
Yeah. It hurts. It hurts so bad because Tony Hawk was a great series, you know,
Hmm.
and sometimes when things don't evolve, they people get tired of it. People, it just doesn't, it just couldn't keep up
It's
with skate.
it's a yeah, it's a very arcadey game.
Yeah.
and that just made more sense on older consoles. Like, I mean, first of all, Pro Skater wasn't even like the game series that they made most recently. They dropped the Pro Skater series after the fourth one, and they went to Underground and all that, and American Wasteland and all this stuff. So, they went back to Pro Skater. I mean, look, just like 10 minutes ago, I was playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on my tablet. Okay, and I was having more fun than I think people had with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 on next gen.
That may
So,
be true. That may be
it's
true.
it's past its time. No, like, for the best experience on those kind of games, it just makes more sense to go back on old consoles. And like you said, Skate is, I wouldn't necessarily say it's better than Tony Hawk in general, but they're two different beasts, and Skate
Yeah.
just makes more sense for the current gen systems.
Yeah. And Activision just continues to kill it, man. They got, like, looking at a list of games here, you got Skylanders series, which is popular. You got Diablo, StarCraft, Warcraft, Candy Crush. Everybody's playing Candy Crush to this day. Millions of people are still playing Candy
The
Crush.
people playing Candy Crush that tell me that I play video games is a bad thing.
Yeah, but
Still a video game, guys.
one game that I am really juiced about Activision coming out, and that is coming out today, is Overwatch. Overwatch. And
Yep.
you guys got to see me play some of the beta of that. I know you've probably seen other videos, and some of you guys have already played the beta. But that game's amazing. I think this may be the next big franchise for Activision, as if they needed another one.
Yeah.
With them dominating the shooters with Destiny and with Call of Duty. The last thing they needed was another great shooter.
That begs the question also, is that, I've heard people say that it's a great game that's coming out at a terrible time. Like me and Troy talk all the time about how there's just too many games, like there's like I can't necessarily keep up with everything all the time because, like me and Troy, for instance, this past weekend said that we were gonna, hop on Destiny for the first time in a while, and we did. But guess what? It was also Double Weapon XP and Black Ops 3, so I felt like I needed to be playing that. So, there's so much competition. And you know what? Activision's other games are actually creating competition for it.
Yeah.
So, but it's a very different kind of shooter, right? I look at it like a very PC looking game like Team Fortress and stuff.
Yeah, and it's very balanced. It's very balanced, and they're just getting good at this. They're finding the right developers to make their games for them, and they're putting them out there, and they're selling well. And I believe Overwatch is gonna sell beyond what they feel they're gonna get for it. So
yeah,
we shall soon see.
Yeah, well, good reviews so far, just based on beta and early access and stuff. So
yeah, but next up that we have on our list is EA.
Oh, EA, the publisher everybody loves to hate. Well, yeah, not only is this year going to be really big for EA, but I think this past year was really big for EA as well. Troy, what are some of the games we got on the list there?
Some of the games that we have on the list for EA is we have the Madden 16, we have NBA Live, we have NHL, Plants vs Zombies 2, Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare 2. Sorry.
Yeah.
We also have what do we? Oh, in Battlefront.
Right, probably their biggest heavy hitter.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not really sure how they're feeling about Battlefront. I know, like, the people that like Battlefront love Battlefront, but is that really a huge audience right now? And there's just so much competition. I really feel like this next year will be a whole lot better than this past year for EA, though. Games like Titanfall 2 and Battlefield 1 and stuff like that. Yeah, but it's been a decent year for EA. Definitely not their best, but they're in no means in trouble or anything.
Oh, not
Plus,
even close.
if this whole debate that we did, an entire podcast on about Call of Duty versus Battlefield is looking the way that the YouTube dislike and like ratios are going, then EA might be real well off this year.
Yeah, they just might be. And oh, I totally forgot to mention FIFA. FIFA, which is probably the best selling EA game
Yeah,
like worldwide.
yeah. I was just about to say, if all of you American guys are wondering, guys and girls are wondering why that's on that list, ask anyone outside of America.
Yes, that game is, and I've played FIFA 16, and the game is super realistic. I mean, it doesn't get any more realer than that. It's fun to play. The graphics are great,
Hmm.
and it's on point with the with what soccer is.
Yeah,
And
I enjoy watching people play games like that and Madden and stuff because like you said, they always look really good, and I think that has mostly to do with the fact that all of the graphical design goes into a very condensed space. They're not designing an entire world or something like that, so everything just kind of gets focused into that. And, it's good.
uh, EA is doing big things.
Hmm.
Um, Next up, we have Ubisoft. Ubisoft.
Oh, Ubisoft. I'm impressed. This Assassin's Creed was definitely better than the last one. And there's the big hitter, The Division, that
Yeah,
we're both loving. Just played it today.
and
By the way, my foot is asleep, and I'm about to I'm sorry. I've been trying to hold it off this whole time, but I'm just gonna let it go now. It's driving me nuts. All right, go ahead.
no. So one thing about the division, and it's kind of going back to what you were talking about earlier about there being way too many video games and just trying to keep up with all these video games. One thing that was tough about the division was that if you haven't played it in a while, then you were behind, and there was some stuff that you couldn't even play. So like I
Hmm.
had to literally have people carry me through some stuff through what is it, Falcon Lost? Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Had to have them carry me through that so that way I can actually get some gear. So that way I can actually hang in the dark zone and
yeah,
all this other kind of stuff. And so like it's one of those games, that and Destiny are the two games where it's like if you get behind, it can become a little overwhelming to try to catch up. You have to really
right.
make sure you stay on it.
Yeah, and it's interesting with the division because so far they've only had one DLC, if you want to even call it DLC. It was more like a major update, but it was Falcon Lost, and the positive thing to that is that it was free.
Yeah.
It's like a little free DLC that people get, and that's really all they've come out with. There's been launch, like a couple updates, and then the Falcon Lost thing, and kind of slowed down after that. A lot of people seem to think it's dropped off the radar, but there are some pretty die-hard Division fans out there, and you know, I was mentioning to Troy earlier today that it's got to be one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite, co-op games to play right now. That's the best way to play that game, and
Yeah.
so I think Ubisoft's doing well.
And another good game was this little game called Rainbow Six Siege, which is probably in my opinion, it is probably one of the best realistic, balanced, competitive uh, games that I've played to this day. It is super balanced with what they bring to the table with their different characters and whatnot. But yeah, that game it's one of those games you have to play with friends. Like I can't just
Yeah.
hop on Rainbow Six Siege and just go play by myself because you have to communicate, you have to have a game plan, and it is definitely for esports. Anything.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like if Activision were to take search and destroy from Call of Duty and make an entire game out of that mode, that's what Rainbow Six Siege would be. It's very straightforward. Like the what you see is what you get. What you see is very good. But for me, at least, it was way too specific of a game because I didn't feel like there was going to be that much, not variety to it, but it's like I could get tired of it pretty quick.
Yeah.
That was my opinion, anyways.
All right.
But
Next up on our list, we have Bethesda.
Ooh,
Um,
the silent beast.
yes, Bethesda continues to kill it. Um, just about every time they come out with a game, they kill it. But they had two big hitters this year, and that is Fallout 4 and Doom.
Yeah, Fallout 4, the game that nobody ever thought was going to come out with. Um, I wonder if Fallout 4 is really taking a hit from not really being, multiplayer driven, because it seems like all the most popular games right now are either heavy into PvP or co-op. And I don't hear much about Fallout 4. I know it got amazing reviews. I know it's a great game.
Yeah,
Tons of people love it, but it goes back to, once again, there's so many games,
yeah,
like, do people have the time to play that and nothing else? Like, that's the kind of game that I would love to have if I didn't have online play,
yeah.
you know?
The Fallout 4 does have new DLC coming out, called Far Harbor,
Right. It's
and
about to come out.
yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, when Fallout does DLC, it does it big.
Yeah.
It's almost a whole nother campaign that they usually add on. You get more weapons, enemies, and things like that. And I got to play through. I played through Fallout 3 and I played through Fallout New Vegas, and I've not gotten a chance to play Fallout 4 yet because there are just way too many games, and it's like
Right.
I want to play it so bad. Like I want to play it so bad, but it's like between you know all the multiplayer games that are out there, and it's like, man, how can I play this? There's so many games that I've started that I haven't
Yeah.
finished, and
Yeah.
it's like,
Well, yeah, like the Halo campaign, for instance, I really wanted to play through the rest of it, but I only found time to play it whenever I like didn't have Wi-Fi, like my Wi-Fi was down, or I was playing somewhere that I didn't have Wi-Fi at all and I couldn't play online. Um, because, like, well, why would I play the campaign if I could be playing multiplayer with other people, or my friends are online playing something and I want to play while they're online, and then, months go by and I still have never played the rest of the campaign. I finally played it recently, but I was way behind on it. And I feel like that's kind of where Fallout's at.
yeah. But yeah, between Fallout and Doom, Doom is awesome. I've been playing Doom. I love it. It's gory, it's rated mature, and it's freaking awesome. And it's a callback to the old game. And dude, I love it. And yeah, what it plays like Halo 3. But heck, don't we all love Halo 3? I freaking
Yeah.
love Halo 3. I
It's
love
gotten
its
a lot of mixed
multiplayer.
reviews.
Yeah,
And, I've heard, like, I looked at the IGN review, and their two complaints were that they said the campaign was a lot like the original game's campaign, but that isn't that entertaining, or that it's pretty repetitive. But in the back of my head, I'm like, but that's Doom. That's
yeah,
what they were trying to remake. And then they said the multiplayer was taking too much after popular multiplayer games with rankings, taunts, weapon skins, all the loadouts and all that. But I mean, they don't have anything to base the multiplayer off of. It's not like they have to stay true to anything because there was no
yeah,
multiplayer, so
yeah.
I think it's good.
And yeah, the thing is that you can't satisfy everyone. You know, if you give people something new, they get upset. If you do the same thing over again, they get upset. And so, what do? You just do what you do. You know.
And people continue to whine.
Yep. But next up on our list, we have Take Two Interactive, which is okay. This is a little complicated with Take Two because it's like 2K Games and Rockstar, and there's like some kind of weird marriage thing going on there. But overall, it seems like they're all owned under 2K. Sorry, Take Two Interactive, and so we're just gonna go by Take Two Interactive as the
Yeah.
publisher. But so far, what we've seen from Take Two Interactive is NBA 2K and WWE 2K, and Yeah, we're still getting content for Grand Theft Auto 5, which is
Yeah.
great. They continue to support that game, and I believe a Civilization game has also come out. But
Yeah.
no Midnight Club. Thank you.
Yeah.
No Midnight Club.
Let that die.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I really appreciate Take-Two for the space that they put between their games. They don't rush anything. Like Rockstar, for instance, they have 2 or 3 year intervals between their games, and they always come out being great games because they never rush them. They delay them whenever they need to, and they put the work into it and make sure it's great. Did 2K make Evolve?
Oh yes, Evolve. That is actually a yeah
Ouch.
2K game.
Yeah.
Sounded like a good idea.
Oh yeah. I think it was way too driven on player communication, and not everybody just has 3 other people to play with, all the time that they can talk to. And I sort of like Rainbow Siege. I think it was too specific of a game. I don't think there's any single player to it. I didn't play it. I don't know. Um, but man, that game fell off the radar fast.
Yeah, Rainbow Six Siege didn't have any multiplayer to it, but
Right? What?
Rainbow Six Siege didn't have any multiplayer to it. There's no multiplayer to Rainbow Six Siege. I mean, sorry, not multiplayer, single player campaign.
Yeah, I was.
Ah, what am I talking about? There's no
It's late
multiplayer.
over.
The game
Okay,
didn't
look,
exist.
I'm in Houston. We were always record this Sunday nights for Monday podcast. It's almost 1:30 in the morning right now. I have an excuse to be tired, but Troy, it's only 11:30 there.
Look, okay, today was my son's birthday party. Okay, he turned 3. Happy birthday, Eli. I love you. He turned 3. Yeah, I'm tired. Right.
Eli's gonna clean the dust off of his old computer in like 20 years and see this video.
But
Yeah.
yeah, Take-Two's doing. I think Take-Two's doing a good job. They're doing a great job, and excited to see what they're going to be bringing to the table in the years to come. Um, they do a great job. 2K is a great game. I love NBA 2K. I haven't played the WWE 2K16 game, but I hear it's good. It's gotten decent reviews. A lot of critics are giving it like an 8 out of 10 and stuff like that, and saying
Yeah.
that it stays true to the franchise and stuff like that. But I stopped playing wrestling games. Like when the last wrestling game I played was like on the 64. What was that? Freaking WCW versus NWO Revenge.
Yeah. I think Take-Two is doing exactly what they're intending to do.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that they're like below expectations or crazily above expectations. They have a path set out and they're sticking to their path, and it's doing well for them.
Yeah, they tried something new and it didn't do too well, but
yeah,
due for the stars. But
yeah.
Next up on our list we have Nintendo.
Ouch.
Nintendo has come out with games like Stretchmo,
and
yeah,
Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon. Yeah, Splatoon is a great game.
Did Mario Maker come out this year?
Super Mario Maker,
Yeah.
which has also been a good game. I actually own both Splatoon and Super Mario Maker, and they're great games. I just can't stand Nintendo because of the whole Wii U being out for like 2 years. With the NX, but that's
which, by the way, they're not even planning on talking about it at E3 this year.
Yeah.
Like, what else are they going to talk about? I mean, their only saving grace right now is the Nintendo DS. So they're just going to pronounce a bunch of, Wii U and DS games, and not that many people own Wii U, so I don't know what their game plan is there. But
well, they
on
recently
this year,
they recently just brought back Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow to the DS, to the 3DS and 2DS, which you could totally emulate on your computer or phone. But don't do that because that's illegal. All right, guys, unless you own the game.
Yeah.
Emulate.
Right. I stuck my Nintendo 64 Tony Hawk's cartridge into my tablet. That's how I was playing that earlier.
Emulators are wrong, and they're killing gaming as a whole because gaming
Yeah.
is not a $99.9 billion industry. So stop
Troy,
it.
if I emulated Tony Hawk onto my tablets, does that mean I'm part of the reason that THQ went under out of business?
Yes,
I'm part of the problem.
because you could emulate that game 10 years ago. No, you couldn't.
Okay.
It's impossible.
Rest in peace, THQ.
And they also made WCW vs. NWO Revenge, which I mentioned earlier.
Moment of silence for them.
But yeah, it is not looking good for Nintendo. It is not looking good for them.
Yeah, I don't even feel like we need to spend a whole lot of time talking about this, because if you want to actually go to the podcast playlist, you can actually find an entire podcast we did specifically talking about the state of Nintendo and whatever the heck is going on with them. And one of the big things that we keep hoping is going to happen is that they'll just sell themselves out to other publishers and other consoles. You know, pull a Sega and just, start, making more money than they're probably making now. They're already talking about possibly doing phone ports and stuff, and consoles might be next.
That route isn't necessarily the best.
It's gotta be better than it is now. It has a lot to do with what this next console is going to look like.
Yeah.
I literally mean what it's going to look like, because who knows what the heck this thing's going to look like whenever it comes out.
Yeah, because if you tried to play freaking Black Ops on the Wii, yeah, that sucked. But we'll move on from that. And next up, we have Sony. Sony has what do we have here? Yeah, they have MLB The Show, which is the only baseball game.
Yeah, the number one baseball game in the world right now.
Because they own all the rights to it.
Sony owns baseball, if you didn't know.
They own making baseball games with the actual players' names. Actually, that lapse actually ended. There was actually another game called RBI Baseball that came out, and they actually keep up the rosters and stuff, but it's very cartoony. It is not realistic at all.
Oh yeah, it's like if you ever played Troy, did you ever play the backyard sports games on the computer? Like whenever you actually bought the little CD-ROM, and it was like you were playing as the athletes, but you were playing as the little kid athletes of them.
Yeah.
There's backyard baseball, backyard basketball. I used to love those games.
Yeah.
And I would bring those games back.
They also have Uncharted 4.
Possible game of the year. I'm calling it right now.
Calling it? Right.
I'm calling it as a potential. I haven't actually... I mean, the reviews haven't come out yet, but if I had to take a guess, I'd either say that or Dark Souls 3.
It's probably going to take me a while to even get to play it, because there's so many games. I own a PS4. I want to play it, but...
When was the last time you turned on that PS4?
Last night when I was watching Netflix.
Okay. Look, guys, we own Vitas.
Yeah, we both have Vitas.
Troy probably plays his Vita more than his PS4.
I probably do. It's sad. I have Watch Dogs on the
Yeah.
I go back to every now and then.
Yeah.
Every now and then.
That and Outlast are the only things you play on there.
I don't play Outlast. I can't do it. I
played Outlast.
I can't do horror games. There's just no way. But I'm excited for Uncharted 4. I love video games with deep story. Look at games like The Last of Us, where it's kind of a little bit more about the story, but it still takes really good skill to play to beat, especially if you're playing on the hardest settings, which is what we do. Play games on the hardest settings, Judah, because we want a challenge.
Right. Oh, look, we have beaten all the Halos on Legendary and all that stuff, and so most of the time, yes. But I'm not gonna lie and say that I always play on the hardest difficulty. But you go right ahead.
But Sony they continue to bring it as publishers. they didn't bring that much to the table last E3. They did bring a lot to the table, but it wasn't coming out this year. It was games that are going to be coming out uh, probably next year, 2 years or so, and we'll see,
Yeah.
when we'll actually get to
And
play those.
we've actually been talking about only games this whole time, but with Sony and Microsoft, they weren't just displaying games at last E3. They were exposing some new hardware as well. Morpheus. That's probably gonna,
Yeah,
that's already making a name for itself even more now, and most of it's still in the dark. We actually, again, we did an entire podcast on VR one time, so check that out on the playlist if you want to see us talk about that. But you know, um, it's nice to see that they're jumping on that, and it's going to be interesting to see how the difference between that and Samsung Gear and Oculus Rift and all that stuff kind of compare against each other.
yeah. Uh, Last but not least, on this list is Microsoft. Uh,
Microsoft.
Microsoft this
Well,
year. Microsoft has had countless games come out this year, but the
highlights,
yeah the
lowlights.
the highlights are Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is a timed exclusive.
Timed. It's going to come to
Yeah,
PC.
it's gonna come to PC. Scream Ride, which I heard was okay.
Is that like a roller
Yeah,
coaster
it's like a
type game?
roller coaster type
Okay.
of game. Quantum Break, which came out this year, which is great. I'm loving Quantum Break. I'm currently still playing it right now, but I'm loving it.
No, you're not.
I'm playing Quantum Break. I'm still playing
I
it.
thought you returned it.
Huh? No, I have
I
it
thought
here.
you returned it.
I have it
okay,
here.
Okay.
I have it here somewhere. Just
Somewhere.
Hold on, just so you
It's
know.
a rental. I hope you can find it. Don't pull another Blockbuster.
Boom. Quantum Break. Quantum Break.
Okay.
Right there on the screen.
Okay.
All right, and we also have Halo 5.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
Halo
that
5
came out
Guardians.
this year, right?
Yeah, they came out this year.
That's their showcase.
Yeah.
That's the big heavy hitter each time, and
Yeah.
again, it's not a yearly release, thank goodness.
They also had a Gears of War Ultimate Edition and a Forza Motorsport 6.
Also, like I said, we're not only talking about games, backwards compatibility. How successful has that been?
Oh yeah, that's been great. I think that was one of the big things at E3
Oh yeah.
when they brought
Yeah.
that. That's the thing that they should have brought when they first introduced the console, along
Right.
with bringing down the price of that console. But yeah,
It came with a Kinect.
it came with the Kinect,
which I'm using right
Yes.
now.
And for those of you who don't know, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was actually published by Microsoft in Japan.
Did not know that.
Yeah, published by Microsoft.
Yeah, but Black Ops 1 recently came to backwards compatibility and everybody jumped on that, and me and Troy were just talking about a few minutes ago, if I own an Xbox One, Troy owns Xbox One and PS4, but if I was still in a point where I didn't own any of the next gen consoles and I was contemplating, that might just be the push to make me go to Xbox instead of PlayStation, because I hear stuff on like IGN and all like the publishers will make it known. It's like, hey, this game's becoming backwards compatible, and that doesn't mean anything but Xbox at this point. So that's huge. The fact that not only are we getting all those games, but now Xbox's game library is substantially bigger than PlayStation's.
Yeah.
So that's a big point.
Definitely jumps them up. And also, even though this was basically, in a sense, it was a remaster kind of thing, but they also did State of Decay. Came out in 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. We also, just to mention these guys, Warner Brothers, who did a great job with publishing, was it Batman Arkham Knight? Even though it was a little predictable for the story. We also have a Telltale, We definitely
Wait, hold on. What did Warner Brothers not do Dying Light, or am I getting them mixed up with something?
Warner Brothers. I think they did do Dying Light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's that's a nice game because it kind of stepped up what they were already doing with Dead Island. Yeah, Dead Island,
Yeah.
and kind of mix it with the Mirror's Edge kind of feel. But yeah,
Yeah.
I was impressed by him.
We also have Telltale, who's killing it. Um, I've only played the first Walking Dead Telltale game, and it was great. I love the story. I'm a big Walking Dead fan. And so is Judah. We both love Walking Dead, but the game, I mean, it's not really the kind of game where if you're a hardcore gamer, it's kind of hard to get into because there's not much of a challenge. It's just making decisions,
Yeah.
more than anything. But they it's selling. It's selling. They got
Oh yeah.
Borderlands. There's a Game of Thrones one coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It,
there's
it's
all kinds
it's
of stuff.
interesting how they're getting all these rights to things. Like um, like I don't think a lot of other games could go out and just kind of get the rights so easily for things as big as Borderlands and Walking Dead and you know gosh, they're making all of them. There's a ton of them now, and they came out with series, and you
Yeah,
followed them,
there's
and
a
it's
Minecraft
like
one.
yeah, it's like if you took a graphic novel and added a slight bit of gameplay to it, and like Troy was saying, the decision making. So yeah, I mean they're a very
Yeah,
very different kind of game, but it's cool that in this day and age we have that much variety in video games.
yeah. And one of the cool things about the Telltale games is that it actually counts as lore. It actually counts, like the Walking Dead um, stories actually counts as lore towards the TV show, and so will the Game of Thrones whenever it comes out. So if you don't play those games or watch the videos, people streaming it on YouTube and stuff like that, you're kind of missing out on some side stories, which are pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of hardcore fans out there that appreciate that.
I believe
Well,
that's all we have.
yeah, I mean, we just wanted to do this, because there's been so much talk about this next E3 coming up, and what, like 2 weeks from today,
Yeah,
or no, 3 weeks from today.
yeah,
What's today?
the 12th.
12th. Yeah,
Yeah,
so not
12th
2
of
weeks.
June.
Um, so yeah, and everybody's been talking about what are people gonna show, who's gonna win E3, but we kind of wanted to take a step back and say, what were the predictions made last year for how great 2015 2016 was going to be for E3, and how did they kind of hold up to those expectations? So
Yeah.
that was in a nutshell what went on and what at least our thoughts were. So as always, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know what you thought were some of the high and low points of each one of these developers and publishers, and just the year as a whole. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to this next year.
And if you click our card on the top right of the screen, we have a poll for you guys, and we just want to know what publishers do you think will will kill it, will do best in at the next E3 coming up in June 12th.
Yeah, I am definitely excited. I'm actually going to be out of town, or out of town is a bit of an understatement, whenever E3 comes around. But we will definitely be recapping that for you,
Yeah.
and we will have a full podcast the week following the week of E3 to just give you guys a rundown of some of the biggest news that came out. So looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us in this podcast, and we'll see you guys online.
Take it easy, guys.